All right, guys, it's time to have an uncomfortable, maybe comfortable for some of you, conversation about this man, Ryan Poles. When you're searching for answers, you're trying to figure out who to blame most, and that's what we're going to try to do here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Is Ryan Poles the problem? Is he the main problem for why the Bears can't seemingly improve? He's not. He doesn't seem to be the solution. That's for sure. I mean, look at how bad this team has been since he's been the general manager. 3-14 in year one. I can handle that. Big teardown year. Okay, so be it. 7-10 in year two. I can even somewhat handle that. 4-win improvement. Matt Eberflus blows a couple of games. Otherwise, maybe they're more like a 9-8 team. Okay, that's good progress. Way backwards momentum last year, and yeah, the coaching was a debacle, 5-12. But this year, when everybody gives you credit for the moves you made on the offensive line, for the coaching improvements, 0-2, just got blown out by the Lions. 15-38 overall, 3-17 in the division. At the end of the day, regardless of the context, and context does matter when you're having these conversations, you are what your record says you are. It's an old Bill Parcells line. You are what your record says you are. 15-38, 3-17 in the division. And what did he say when he took this job? His final remarks of his opening press conference remarks. I was trying to think of a better word. We're going to win the North and never give it back. I saw a tweet, or no, one of you guys in the comments of our postgame video said, got to give Poles credit. He said, we're going to take the North and never give it back. Little did we know he meant last place, because that's where the Bears have lived under Ryan Poles. It's been a disaster. It's been an absolute disaster. And don't forget, they just extended this man a couple of months ago. A lot to break down here. The bad, the good when it comes to Ryan Poles, and just what the hell is going to happen next. Good news or bad news, though, we're here every day. People ask, Harrison, I wouldn't blame you if you quit. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be covering this team. I'm going to be here, I hope, when this thing turns the corner. Join us every single day. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. It's 100% free. We could suffer together. Steve Letizia on Twitter, just in response to the Bears-Lions game today. Number 10 pick, Colston Loveland. 0 receptions. Had just 1 target from Tyson Bagent in garbage time. Luther Burden, I think he actually had 1 catch. This was before the game was over. But regardless, 1 catch for 5 yards, 0 catches. Doesn't really matter. Glorified kickoff returner. Your second-round pick, who you wanted to be your left tackle, who's actually your backup right tackle, and Ozzie Trapillo, healthy scratch. Second-round pick, a defensive tackle, Shamar Turner. Look, he missed most of training camp. I'll defend that one a little bit, but healthy scratch. Your first 4 picks basically have given you nothing through 2 games. And I get it. They're rookies. But you've gotten zilch. And by the way, when it comes to Trapillo and Turner, what really are you going to get this year? I mean, you hope as the season goes on, Colston Loveland descends and just becomes more of a focal point. Luther Burden gets opportunities to make some plays. But through 2 games, these 4 have basically done zilch, with Trapillo and Turner literally doing 0. And, oh, by the way, don't forget your third-round pick from last year, Kiran Amegadjie, healthy scratch as well. So, Ozzie Trapillo and Kiran Amegadjie, your 2 highest draft picks on the offensive line the last couple of years, at a position group where you've struggled to improve, inactive, and Shamar Turner, inactive. That's good. How about the third round as a whole? Velus Jones Jr., a complete overdraft, cut off the team before the end of year 3. Zacch Pickens, third-round pick, 2023, cut. Doesn't even get to year 3. Cut before this year started. He was in training camp, but didn't make the 53. Kiran Amegadjie, on the team, only in his second year, barely made the team, and he's a healthy scratch. He at this point, he's considered a bad player, certainly for where you drafted him. You can't go 0 for 3 in the third round. You at least need some contributions here. You've gotten basically 0 contributions, much less a starter out of these 3 guys. So you've got that. What are some other whiffs? The Chase Claypool trade. One of the worst trades we've ever seen. Ends up being the 33rd pick to Pittsburgh for a guy who gave you zilch. You signed Nate Davis, even though the chatter around him was he was a lazy football player. Complete flop. You hired Matt Eberflus, and we can debate if there was influence there from George and whoever else, whatever. You also kept him last year when you were drafting a new quarterback. That was a major mistake. We can debate if there was stuff behind the scenes that forced Poles' hand. I don't give a shit at this point. He's the GM. If he wanted him out bad enough, he could have made it happen. You drafted Tyler Scott and Roschon Johnson. 4th-round picks, okay. But, like, you'd like to get at least one contributor out of those two. Tyler Scott's off the team. Roschon Johnson was active today, did nothing. Barely plays. Your O-line strategy and acquisitions the first 3 years before this offseason. And by the way, Jonah Jackson so far, Drew Dahlman so far, not great. I wanted Drew Dahlman, but listen, he's the GM, I'm not. It's his job to get it right. But those first 3 years, your O-line strategy, trying to piecework the center position, going cheap, didn't work. Tremaine Edmunds' contract. He's a fine player. When you traded Roquan Smith, the idea was Tremaine Edmunds and TJ Edwards combined to be better. They have not. TJ's been solid for the initial contract you gave him on. Tremaine has not lived up to his contract. Ryan Bates trade. You tried to sign him. Buffalo match is restricted. Then you trade for him. He's a fine backup who couldn't stay healthy when he was expected to be a starter last year. And then Tyrique Stevenson, a guy I was high on coming out of the draft, who I still think did some good things as a rookie. Up to this point, I think it's fair to say as a second-round pick, he's been more bad than good. That's a second-round pick, man. You need a really good player there, and Tyrique Stevenson has not been that. Good players that have left the building, some in your control and some who you just let go. You traded Roquan Smith and Khalil Mack. I'll still defend it to an extent. You were rebuilding. I understand. Roquan Smith is one of the best linebackers in the league. Khalil Mack at 33 years old is still a very good pass rusher and has been very productive since he left. Darnell Mooney. Remember when we were like, maybe Mooney's not that good, but in reality, Fields just couldn't hit him. 900-plus yards last year for Atlanta. He's their number 2 receiver, only makes $13 million per year. Pretty good player. David Montgomery, been part of one of the best, if not the best, 1-2 punch at running backs in Detroit last couple of years. You let him leave for 3 years and $18 million. I know he just signed an extension, but you paid DeAndre Swift 8 and change. And David Montgomery's a better player than DeAndre Swift. So you've got that. Extensions aging poorly. DJ Moore's a good player, but is he playing like a guy who makes $27, $28 million per year? I would say no. Montez Sweat. And again, at the time, both these made sense. But again, it's his job to get it right, not mine. Montez Sweat, basically since you've paid him, sure, the second half of 2023, when he finished that year, he was very good. Was bad last year. I was told he played through a foot injury, so I gave him not a full pass, but okay, let's see what he does this year. Through 2 games this year, mostly a non-factor. I think it's safe to say he's overpaid. DJ, there's been some QB offensive issues. He's still a good player, but still, he's being paid. Could you wonder, has Rome already passed him? Through 2 games, Rome in week 2 had the best receiver game so far, so we'll see, but that one's not as egregious, but Montez Sweat, not very good. Wait and see. Kyler Gordon is yet to play this year. Pulled his hammy. TJ Edwards re-aggravated his hamstring. I felt like that was a team-friendly deal. These contracts aren't going to break you, but again, it's are you going to hit on any of these? These are a lot of just bad/unknown there. That's a lot of players we're talking about. Guys leaving that maybe you should have kept. Guys that you paid that, okay, it made sense at the time, but they haven't taken the next step. Draft picks that you've whiffed it on. Bad trades with Chase Claypool. It's kind of hard to defend Ryan Poles at this point. And at times, I have defended him to an extent because he took over a situation that was bad. The Bears were in cap hell. He had to make some tough decisions to tear down the roster. Okay, but that's the easy part. He got the Bears in a good cap situation, built it back up, but have you built it up with the right guys? Because I don't know if the answer to that is a resounding yes, because the results are what they are, and a lot of these players are not living up to the contracts that they are being paid up to this point. What's been Ryan Poles' worst move? I think keeping Eberflus for that 3rd year was so unbelievably bad. It was so obvious. I was pounding the table at the time. Get rid of this guy. If you're drafting a quarterback, change coaches. I don't want Matt Eberflus in year 3, who's going to enter that year on the hot seat, to be in charge of developing the number 1 pick. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. And it was a disaster. Predictably so. So bad that they fired a head coach midseason for the first time in the history of the franchise. Absolutely unbelievable. But plenty to choose from. You let us know what's been his worst move so far. Coming up, we will analyze the good. There's some good in there, but not enough to get extended when it comes to Ryan Poles. But first, I want to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Speaking of being right, I was right on this two-player lineup as I took Caleb Williams to throw for more than half a touchdown. He threw for 2 today. That was a goblin pick, hit easily. Also paired that with a max discount of Travis Kelce, more than half a receiving yard. $20 to win 40 since the goblin pick lowers the payout a little bit, but felt great about that one, and that one ended up paying out. The way Prize Picks works is simple. That's one example of tons you can use. 2 to 6 player lineups, you just choose more or less on stat projections. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money on certain lineups. You can also do the flex play, which is something Prize Picks invented. It means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Ryan Poles hasn't been right often enough, but the one thing he's always gotten a lot of credit for, and I still think deserves some credit for, is the trade he made with the Carolina Panthers. Well, let's just revisit it. Where do things sit? Carolina got Bryce Young, and that's it. Clearly, they're on the losing end of this, no question. But have the Bears, have they just overwhelmingly won it? DJ Moore, nice player, but again, you just gave him a huge extension that he's probably not quite living up to, and people were talking about you could pivot off him after this year. Darnell Wright, good player, special. We'll see. I see a lot of really good in there, but he does have a lot of false starts and mental errors. Tyrique Stevenson, again, clock's ticking. There's been some good, but there's been a lot of bad, and it seems like that Hail Mary snafu has really just derailed his career. Caleb Williams, more on him in a second. Luther Burden III, 2 games in. Jury's clearly still out there. But the point is revisiting the trade, yes, you won it, but this should be one of the most dominant trades of all time, and quite frankly, it just isn't up to this point. It's a Panthers L and a Bears, maybe it ends up being really good, especially if Caleb hits ultimately, then it'll end up being a great trade, no question about it. But let's talk about Caleb. 19 games in, it's been a mixed bag. And no one wanted this guy more than me. I wanted Caleb Williams. But again, I'm not the general manager. And for Ryan Poles and the Bears to just zero in on this guy so much, and this has been documented, to not even bring another guy into your building, that's a failure. That is a failure. If you looked at all these quarterbacks fairly and settled on Caleb, okay. He was the consensus number 1 team for probably 20 to 25 teams. I'm not acting like he picked the wrong guy compared to what the rest of the league would do, but it's the process. And it's almost like karma in a sense. It's like, okay, you didn't even consider, you didn't even have a chat with these other guys. That's unacceptable. It's almost lazy to me. It's like that you just didn't even do your job. And again, I wanted Caleb, and I still think it can work out. I do think it can. But so far, he clearly hasn't been the best in his class, and he's probably closer to 6th than he is 1st. He's probably 3rd or 4th, if we're being fair about it. And listen, he's had a lot of circumstances. There's been a lot going on. It's still early-ish when it comes to that, so it's not over. But again, when you make this trade and you get all this credit, it's like, well, if the quarterback you pick doesn't end up panning out, you can only win the trade by so much, if that makes sense. Other good, in quotes, moves. Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker were good picks. They're good players. They're not special, but they're good players. I thought Kyler deserved an extension, although he does tend to get these minor injuries that cost him to miss time. I think he's now missed 13 games in 4 years. It's not nothing. Jaquan Brisker, if he has a healthy season, maybe he's back on a second contract. That'd be good. It can't really blame Poles for him having a concussion problem. When he's healthy, he's an above-average player. Again, he's not great, but second-round pick, I think that's fine. Braxton Jones in the 5th round, one of his better value picks, certainly, even if he's not on a second contract. To get 4 years of starting potentially out of a 5th round left tackle, that's a good pick. Elijah Hicks in the 7th round, good value pick there, great special teams player. But again, I mean, you're talking about like finding decent value late on day 3. These aren't like franchise-changing players. Darnell Wright, good pick, but again, he's not quite like that elite level player. And whether or not they could have handled Jalen Carter, that's always going to be a debate because they could have taken him. Now, Javon Dexter, I do think has been pretty good. Again, he's not great. That's kind of the caveat I keep adding. It's like even the good moves, it's like, okay, but they're not great. Where are the blue chippers? Jalen Johnson extension, good move, I would say. Joe Thuney trade, good move. Well, let's talk about those good moves. Think about this. Who are the Bears' best 2 players? Jalen Johnson and Joe Thuney. If you're just talking about best pure players. Okay. Jalen Johnson was a Ryan Pace pick. Joe Thuney is a 32-year-old left guard who I still think is really good and will be good for years to come. But you got him. The Chiefs kind of had to trade him. It was either Trey Smith or Joe Thuney. And they went with the 25-year-old. So it's like, yeah, congrats. You got on the phone, traded a 4th for him. I think that's good value. Like, I would have done it too. But it's like the Chiefs were kind of telling you, like, we had to make a tough decision. Like, do you get, like, a ton of credit for that? And again, when those are your best 2 players, you're in year 4 now. Your best players should be some of your draft picks. And that's not the case. And the jury's still out on a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, that's not ideal, man. That is not ideal at this point in time. And so I want to ask you guys, what has been Ryan Poles' best move? I mean, I guess the trade, or maybe you could say hiring Ben Johnson, but listen, 2 games in, you're dead last in the NFL in point differential, minus 34. I'm certainly not pinning that all on Ben, but, like, he's the coach. Like, he is the coach. And again, they've extended him through 2029. Now, from a logic standpoint, like, okay, yes, ideally you should get your head coach and GM on the same timeline. I'm cool with that. And I even said when they extended him, if Ben Johnson is on board, I'm fine with it. It's been a very mixed bag for Ryan Poles and probably more bad than good, but if Ben wants to work with this guy and he has more power in the organization, okay, I can handle it. But let's be honest, he didn't deserve the extension. Like, he really didn't. Based on the wins, the losses, the misses, the hits, he didn't really earn it. They kind of just did it because they wanted continuity. You could make a strong argument that they should fire this guy, even though they just extended him. They're not going to do that, especially in the middle of the year. But it's year 4, and the Bears don't feel close. They just don't feel close. And listen, maybe in 2 weeks we'll be talking about a 2-2 football team going into the bye. And this is all some big overreaction. But, like, it's not going to change some of those misses Poles had. It's not going to change the fact that, at best, this has been up and down from a, process and just overall talent acquisition standpoint. So, I don't know, man. I look at this and I'm like, if I have to blame one person right now, I think it's just that this team's not talented enough. And the good players they do have seem to kind of fold sometimes. So it's like, it's not good, man. It's not good. All right, subscribe and join us. We will be back for Overreaction Monday. Is the season already over? That might be our next video, so stay tuned for that. Man, if they lose to Matt Eberflus, and Eberflus's defense is a big reason why next week, it is going to be a disaster. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys soon.